We talk constantly about what money buys. We obsess over interest rates, track inflation, and document exactly what different tax brackets can afford, and dollars an hour. You don't need a spreadsheet to know this, because the number forces you to negotiate every tiny daily action. You put exactly $20 of gas in the tank, because filling it means skipping the phone bill, or the single pair of shoes you've been wearing since March. You step aside at the grocery register, because your card declined, waiting in the parking lot for a transfer to clear. You go home, you wake up, you do it again. The trap here is the permanent loop. Work, pay, survive, repeat. The most exhausting part of this tier is the realization that you have zero preferences. The math decides for you. You do not manage your money. Your money completely manages you. Then you hit $35,000. For the first time, you have the physical space of your own apartment with a door that locks behind you. You can pull up to a pump and watch the gas tank hit full without calculating the cost first. The sharp panic of poverty leaves your throat, but it settles into your shoulders. It becomes a dull, constant ache. You have stability now, but you are hyper-aware that a single bad month, one medical bill, one car repair, will drag you right back to where you started. The silence of your own kitchen becomes the most expensive thing you've ever owned. In that quiet, you finally have the mental bandwidth to stop worrying about tonight and start asking what happens next. $50,000 makes you average. You did everything right. You got the degree, you landed the job, the fridge is full, and the bills are paid. You run the numbers for the next 30 years on this exact trajectory, and the final reality is merely survivable. It leaves a quiet disappointment that seeps in like cold air through a window. You find out a coworker in the next apartment makes $80,000 for similar hours. The gap between your 50 and their 80 is a different apartment, a newer car, an entirely different weekend. You see $20,000 behind you and you're grateful. You see $100,000 ahead of you and you're hungry. Cross into $75,000 and the daily mental math finally gets quiet. You wake up and money isn't your very first thought. You start making decisions based on what you actually prefer, rather than what you can strictly afford. Moving upward creates silent social fractures. You stop mentioning your new second bedroom or your impromptu flight to a friend who is still renting a single room. Your newfound options create an unspoken wedge you didn't ask for. We treat $100,000 as the ultimate benchmark, the point where you finally made it. Look at this visual breakdown of a $100,000 gross salary. After the government takes its cut, your total is immediately sliced away to 72. Factor in the baseline living costs of a major city, and what remains is a tiny sliver. It is still survival money, just dressed up in a nice job title. Once you hit this mark, the internal hunger that drove you here shuts off. You are left sitting with a number everyone else has an opinion about. Family calls more often, friends pitch ideas, and instead of feeling secure, you find yourself directionless. Crossing this mark doesn't offer the clarity you expected. It just provides a more expensive way to feel lost. Jump to $150,000, and the physical upgrades, the nicer car, the real vacations, become secondary. The most significant changes happen in how you relate to society. A friend asks to borrow a small amount of money. To you, it's an afterthought. To them, it's everything. You genuinely forget what financial panic feels like, and that memory loss creates a vast experiential distance between you and the daily struggles of others. Money stops being a topic of casual conversation. It transforms into a heavy, permanent silence between you and the rest of the world. Cross $250,000, and your entire vocabulary mutates. You no longer talk about savings accounts or tax refunds. Your reality is dictated by tax optimization and asset allocation. Financial gravity naturally pulls you into isolated circles. You have dinners where nobody checks the bill and take weekend trips where nobody suggests a cheaper option. Cost has literally fallen out of the decision-making equation. Double that to $500,000, and money turns completely invisible. You don't check prices, you don't check balances. The primary unit of measurement for your entire life pivots exclusively to time. What costs you hours and what earns while you sleep. The person you were at $20,000, eating cheap ramen between shifts, would not recognize the person you are now. If they met you, you wouldn't know how to explain this life to them without sounding like someone you once resented. This kind of capital does not buy happiness. It buys absolute architectural isolation from human struggle and from the person you used to be. $1 million a year. The number exists only in tax documents and wire transfers. At this level, money completely stops measuring personal worth and starts measuring structural reach. You are invited into rooms to shape systems. And yet, somewhere right now, someone is sitting in a parking lot eating a $5 meal between shifts. Their check engine light is glowing, and their gas tank is almost empty. They are scrolling through job listings at midnight, convinced their entire pain is tied to a missing number in their bank account, unaware of how much the journey will rewrite who they are. The paycheck hits every 2 weeks, pulling them forward. The true cost of the journey from $20,000 to $1 million is the permanent, irreconcilable distance between who you have to be to survive and who you become when survival is guaranteed.